Good afternoon. I'm your host, Jimmy Kim, and you're watching the greatest show on the planet, The Jimmy Kim Show. To the audience out there today, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a very great show today I'm actually interviewing Fort Bend County Commissioner for Precinct 1, Vincent Morales. And for those of you that aren't familiar where Fort Bend County is, it actually is in the southwest part of Houston, out in the suburbs. A familiar city you may know is Sugar Land. And Sugar Land at one time was actually ranked one of the best cities to live in the whole country. And Fort Bend County also covers more of the suburb areas around there. Commissioner Morales will enlighten us and give us more information about that as we start the interview. But anyways, as we continue, let's go. Commissioner, thank you so much for coming to the studio and doing this interview with us. And go ahead and give us some background about yourself. Tell the audience who you are.
Well, first of all, Jimmy, thank you for having me today. Let's talk about Vincent Morales.
Yes.
Vincent Morales ended up as an elected official, but never went out to actually pursue that. The politics found me. It was back in 2010, former Mayor Gorecki of the city of Rosenberg had served as mayor for 12 years, and he came to me as a businessman, but as a involved, active member of the community, serving on many boards, and also had been a joint appointee of the city of Richmond and the city of Rosenberg to the West Fort Bend Management District. And so that's where I really learned to develop relationships with TxDOT, with county government, and of course the municipalities in the area. So anyway, long story short, Mayor Gorecki felt like that I would make a good mayor for the city of Rosenberg.
So who's your mentor?
He is my mentor. And I will say that I was hesitant at first, growing my business, and never, as I said, never seeking politics or seeking elected office. But after discussing it with my wife and the family, I told Regina, who is my wife, I said, it's just another way to give back to the community. And so I ended up running in 2011, May of 2011, and not feeling that we would win, but was hoping that we would win. Well, we won, and I will tell you that that became really a high point in my life, is to be able to serve the community in that position. I was able to really create, have my hands in the development of a community that I would not have had in any other position. So I was excited about being able to have a vision and take that vision through the help of City Council and making it a community that would serve everyone very well. But anyway, we ended up serving one term as mayor. I'd set goals and actually was asked to run for county commissioner in the summer of 2012.
Just to make it clear, that was Mayor of Rosenberg, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Well, no. A commissioner, I was approached as mayor of the city of Rosenberg,
right,
elected in 2011, and was asked in summer of 2012 to run for county commissioner.
Yes.
And I ended up I told them no because I hadn't finished my goals as mayor. And we ended up continuing on. The second term, when I ran unopposed. Farmer Mayor Gorecki had never been unopposed in the 12 years he had served. And he told me that spoke volume. And so we ended up in our second term, we started to see our goals that were going to become to fruition, and was also asked at that time in 2014 that I would consider running for county commissioner again. And at that time, with the goals that we had reached as mayor, we decided that I would be able to serve Fort Bend County really on the same level, just on a broader scale as county commissioner. So that's kind of how Vincent Morales got into politics, was not pursuing it, but just asked if I would consider. And over time, Vincent Morales developed a passion for what we do today. And so I am very honored, and it is a privilege to serve the people of Fort Bend County.
You know, that's very interesting, because that was actually going to be my next question to you. It seems like something that kind of just fell onto your lap that you didn't necessarily voluntarily seek out became a passion. So that's phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
Because usually some people search their whole lives and they never find it.
Right. I mean, it's like when I decided to run for county commissioner, I mentioned to Regina, my wife, I said, that's a full-time job. And I said, the family business is going to fall back on the family. And she said, just go for it. She goes, you love it. And she said, people love what you've done. So anyway.
Oh, I can tell you love it, because even when we have these discussions, I see the passion coming out of the words that flow.
Thank you.
So tell us more about, so what does a day look like as a commissioner of Fort Bend County?
Every day is different.
So it keeps it interesting.
Very interesting. A commissioner really to me, their primary duties are roads, ditches, just solving people's issues, day-to-day issues. Mobility is key to Fort Bend County because of its growth. Drainage is very important because of its growth. So those are key points that we have to focus on, that being working with, whether it's Road and Bridge or Fort Bend County Drainage or TxDOT. We have to all work together to make sure that we can solve the issues, complex issues that face our constituents in Fort Bend County. But there's also other things such as dealing with some of the day-to-day county operations, of whether that be with the other departments, because one of the other duties of a county commissioner is policy making and oversight of the county budget. It is approved by Commissioner's Court, the county budget. So a lot of times you also get engaged with the other departments on helping them facilitate their needs because of the oversight of the budget. So, like I said, every day is a new day, but it does keep it very interesting.
Absolutely, and it sounds like your plate is full there. So you got a lot of things going on,
yes.
24/7.
That's right, Jimmy. People don't realize what a county commissioner really does. If you look at it, the county is an arm of basically the state, and we can't create laws or or ordinances like a city, all right? Those have to be created from the state level through the legislative body. So we're carrying out those laws, and so it is, it's real important that we represent what the state needs are as well as a county commissioner. So if you think about all the laws that are passed each session, a lot of those do affect a county level to carry those out.
That's interesting. So while you're working, do you do a lot of coordination with the state government and city government? It sounds like you do.
We do.
Tremendous amount.
We do.
And federal as well?
And federal. I will tell you that most of the interaction is with our state elected officials.
Okay.
State House reps, state senators. We are constantly engaged with them on whether there's needs for funding or whether there's needs to create a law or a policy that can be passed on for the benefit of the constituents as well. Federal level, Congressman Nails and I, we've talked several times since his election and since me being in office, talking about what they can do to help us on the federal level that usually filters down to the state level as well. So there is an interaction there. It's just like with TxDOT as a governmental entity, we work with them all the time as a partner to get a lot of the mobility projects accomplished within the county.
Now, going back a little bit, how important was it for you to have a mentor in your life? Because it seems like it was almost pretty much life-changing for you at the time.
It was.
When that person entered and had a conversation with you.
It was.
So what does that mean to you, just the importance of that, and why people should seek out mentors?
You really should. I will tell you that on today's level, as far as some of the folks, and not to be disrespectful, but some of the folks that are running for office should not be running for office.
I actually agree. I don't think it's disrespectful.
I will tell you that, in my opinion, as having a mentor like former Mayor Gurecki that encouraged me to serve on a city council level has been so beneficial and educated me to be able to do the job as a county commissioner better than someone that has never had any interaction with government.
Right.
I will tell you that I feel like that a lot of folks just wake up one day and we're going to run for office.
I see that.
That is the wrong way to go. I think everyone should get involved with their community, either serving on some type of board, whether with a municipality or with serving on a charity board. Engage in the community. Then, as far as, in my opinion, if you are that active in the community and you have educated yourself properly, people will seek you out just as they did me, because it was my relationships in the community, my engagement in the community, my knowledge of the community that was seeked out to bring that this person would serve very well as an elected official. So I just feel like that we should do a better job of people, especially voters should do a better job of educating themselves on the background of an individual running, because it is so important that how it affects the quality of life for all of us as constituents of Fort Bend County every day by that individual that's in that office. So I just feel like that people should not wake up one day and decide they're going to run for some top office, an important office, a full-time office, until they have really engaged themselves in the community in some other form or fashion.
I completely agree with you on that. So there you have it for anybody listening out there. Invest your time and energy in a good mentor. Vincent, you probably actually don't know this about me, but I've actually had some world-class mentors myself.
That's great. That's what it takes.
It is, yeah. But it was a choice as well.
Yes.
To accept that.
Exactly.
Because some people are so stubborn, they're like, no, I don't want to listen to anybody.
Yeah.
And then it hurts them.
You've got to be a good listener.
Right.
In my opinion, that's what has made Vincent Morales successful in elected office, is being a listener.
You listen to the constituents.
That's correct.
Yeah. Love to hear that. Next, tell us, so before you were in politics, you were a business owner. Is that correct?
That is
So
correct.
tell us a bit about that.
Well, I actually have been in the green industry since 1978. And in 2002, I won't go through the whole history, but in 2004, we ended up, my former partner and I ended up parting ways, and I created a company called Greenscape Associates. And February of 2004, actually. And that business is still in operation today, not under my direction or my management, but under the management of my younger son, Justin, and my wife, Regina. Just a little background on Regina is that Regina was in economic development. Started off at the Greater Fort Bend EDC under Herb Apple, and ended up actually the economic development director for the city of Rosenberg, because Mayor Gurecki convinced Herb to allow him to bring her on.
Now, EDC stands for Economic Development Council.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, a lot of the audience may not know that.
They may
So
not know that.
Just to clarify that.
Yes, sir. And then in, I don't know, about 3 or so years later, former superintendent for Katy ISD, Dr. Merrill, and a group of businessmen engaged Regina to start the Katy EDC, Economic Development Council. And then after getting that started and leaving them in a very good position, she was courted by the city of Sugar Land for about a year there, from what I remember. And she ended up as the Economic Development Director for the city of Sugar Land. Projects like Constellation Field, several relocations of corporations and new corporations moving into the Sugar Land area were the results of her efforts. Her last project before retiring from the city of Sugar Land after 9 years was Smart Financial. And she is now helping run the family business because Vincent went off into politics, and she is also being a grandmother for 3 grandchildren.
So you're a grandfather too.
Oh, yes.
Like I said earlier, Vincent, you look way too young. I can't believe it. Are you serious?
Yes, I am. But yeah, they're the love of our lives.
How many grand?
3. We have 3 grandchildren.
Oh, that must be a handful.
Two girls and a boy. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Next, you're also, so you have been and are still active as a board member of nonprofits. Is that correct too?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I know it's quite a few. So if you can just tell the audience about a few of your favorites or most meaningful.
Well, I've definitely had to cut back over time.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the time commitment.
Yes.
As a county commissioner. And, that is what I was elected to do. So where I can help in nonprofits, I do. But there's one nonprofit that I'm very active in right now that was actually created after I became county commissioner, and that is called Fort Bend Paws. Fort Bend Paws, its mission strictly is to serve and to support Fort Bend County Animal Services. And how that all started was we did an assessment of Fort Bend County Animal Services through a national organization that actually pointed out 10 things that would improve the operations of Fort Bend County Animal Services. Some of those were low-hanging fruit that were, extending hours, opening weekends, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the items that they suggested was that a nonprofit be formed. Back then, Farmer Judge Hebert asked me if I would take that and run with it. I am president of Fort Bend Paws. We have a total of 7 board members, and we've raised over $100,000 since 2018, and all of that money has gone back in to helping offset the tax burden for us as constituents. And the way what I mean by that is that instead of having to budget all of the necessary items that are required to run that operation, whether that be vaccines, whether that be heartworm medicine, Fort Bend Paws has been able to offset that with the money it's raised through its generous donors. And so we continue to, we have folks like Raising Cane that have brought their efforts with their annual Christmas promotions. They've given portions of that money. Johnson Development, on and on. And again, a lot of, and I can't stress this enough, generous individuals that have stepped up to support Fort Bend Paws for what it's doing for Fort Bend County Animal Services. So I'm very active in that. Like I said, I've served on many boards as far as Lamar Education Awards Foundation, Spring Awards Foundation, which is outside of Fort Bend County, but was asked to serve on that because of what I had done on the Lamar Education Foundation. And then also Child Advocates. The list goes on, Jimmy. And I did it because it was giving back to the community.
Right.
And again, in my opinion, what I do today is giving back to the community every day.
Yeah, it's all volunteer, right? That's correct.
That's correct.
Right. Thanks for doing that. Next, what is the current state of Fort Bend County from your eyes as a commissioner? Is there room for tremendous amount of improvement? Is it already doing well? So in that regard.
Well, I will tell you that just a recent briefing from the auditor's standpoint, financially, Fort Bend County is in very good shape. We are, one of the biggest challenges we have today is being able to keep up with mobility with the growth we're having. The mobility, to me, equates to economic development.
Absolutely.
And you've got to be able to move people around this county, and you've got to create a safe environment for us to continue that growth. So the challenges we have today is making sure that we provide the best public safety through all of the agencies, whether county or municipal, for our constituents, and to be able to continue to either have mobility bonds or drainage bonds. We need people to help us invest in those areas so that we can keep the quality of life up that people have so come to know in Fort Bend County. People have moved here because of the quality of life.
Yes.
And we need to keep that up. It exists, the quality of life exists here today because that's why so many are moving into Fort Bend County. But we've got those challenges, as I mentioned, as far as that we've got to stay ahead of. And that's really what's key for us as a commissioner's court, is to making sure that we stay ahead of that.
So it seems like your top priorities are mobility,
Absolutely.
public safety,
Yes.
and quality of life. Did I get that right?
You did, Jimmy. You did. Those are my top.
I think that's a lot right there.
Those are my
Yeah.
top qualities.
Yeah. Next, what are your thoughts on Texas as a whole, and then after that, the United States in regards to the political atmosphere? Because you work in conjunction with
Yes.
the Texas government and the federal government.
Yes. Well, I will say that, Texas, for the most part, is a Republican state.
Yes.
And I think that it's a conservative state. But if you look right now what's going on, it is our job growth is really, growing much more than probably any other state right now. It's or at least one of the top states in job growth. So we are really benefiting from that, even with the pandemic and post-pandemic, hopefully. We also, it's a matter right now on the federal level, in my opinion, there's some division there, there's some chaos there that I'm hoping that we can come together and work together as we have in the past, so that all filters down to the state level, which filters down to the county level. And so right now, in my opinion, there's just too much division going on and too much finger pointing, and that we need to all come together from both sides of the aisle, and let's do what's best for the American people, for Texans, and for those living in Fort Bend County.
Yeah. So what is your solution to fix the divisiveness? Is it just being able to agree and being able to agree to disagree, and also being able to compromise on certain issues? What do you see as solutions to that? Because I see it everywhere.
I think it's compromise, and I think that it goes back, Jimmy, to what we talked about earlier, is people in office need to realize why they're there. Why they are there to be in office, to serve the people. And in my opinion, we have a lot of people on the federal level, some on the state level, and some on the county level.
And city probably too.
And city, that forget why they were voted in, to serve the people. And I've never forgotten that. And people that voted me in have said, you make us feel that you are totally in our corner and wanting to make sure that you do what's best for everybody. Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
At the end of the day, yeah.
we've got to, people that we elect into office have got to realize that. And again, I don't see that across the board.
I agree. And we would have a better nation as a whole, and state,
We
and
would.
city, and county,
That's right.
if they were there
That's right.
to represent the constituents rather than self-interest.
Self-interest, self-serving. We don't need people in office for self-serving reasons. We need people in office that have that passion
Right.
to serve the constituents that put them there.
Hopefully things get better.
I hope so. I hope
Vincent,
so.
Commissioner, I am an optimist, but at the same time, I try to stay realistic as to what's going on in society.
Yes.
Next, this is an very important topic in terms of political engagement as a whole, as to why these things are happening. Why do we allow this to happen in our country and at every level of government? Because as we know, the voter engagement numbers, they're pretty low right now.
Yes.
They're not where they should be.
Right.
So what is the solution for that? How can we get people out and actively engaged in voting, going to meet candidates, going to rallies?
Right. Jimmy, that's a good question, because I constantly preach to people, that friends and constituents, that educate yourself. You don't necessarily have to engage yourself, so much in the community, but educate yourself with those that can represent you and represent all of us in a way that we'll all benefit from. So it's just getting people out, educate them.
And voting, that's the most important thing.
Yes.
But voting with the information beforehand. Because if they blindly just start pushing buttons, I think that's just as bad as not voting, honestly.
Right.
So as you said, it's voting with the right information and knowing who you're voting for.
Right.
Which is it's very easily accessible. And even to meet the candidate. I mean, how did we meet? We met at a rally.
Right.
Just hanging out.
Right.
So it's not as hard as people think. But yeah, once again, I hope that gets better. I mean, obviously you're leading from the front as an elected official. I'm a political activist. I try to lead from the front too, rather than sit on the couch and eat my potato chips and complain all day. I'll do the opposite. I just go move and act.
Well, excuse me. I've told people, don't gripe if you don't get out and vote.
I agree. I'd tell those people to shut up if you didn't vote. Just wasting energy.
Right.
What are your thoughts about vaccine mandates and mask mandates? So I'm talking about in terms of forcing people to do these things. Do you think it's right or wrong?
I think it's wrong.
Okay.
The reason I say that is people should have a right to decide really what's best for them. I'm not saying that we shouldn't educate, back to the education.
Yes.
Educate people on proper protocol that would help with the situation of COVID. But I am not in favor of forcing people to do something. Government should not have that role, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think that we should do a better job and I thought this the whole time, we should do a better job of educating the public on what procedures would be good to help protect them, but not force it on them. So I know there's going to be some folks out there that feel like that it's for their protection as well that this be required. But that is not how this country was built.
Agreed.
It was not built on mandates. It was built on the fact that of freedom, and we by government having growing government and having government step in my opinion, is reducing that freedom that our forefathers fought so hard for.
It's interesting that you said education, because I've been trying to do the same thing, Commissioner.
Yeah.
So people that I interact with that are scared, I tell them, hey, how's your personal health?
Yes.
How's your immune system?
Yes.
How's your diet?
Right.
Have you been exercising?
Right.
Then you don't have to live in fear 24/7.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and what you're saying. Educate people.
Right.
What else goes along with that?
Right.
Like you said, diet, physical exercise.
Yeah, move around a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many other factors that would help as far as with the person's health. And I don't feel like it should be something that the government should be stepping in on.
Yeah. Oh, I did leave out an important thing, and also being in community, having
Yes.
some friends
Yes.
to talk to.
Yes.
That's really strong for the immune system.
Yes.
And it's not openly discussed,
Right.
but rather many big institutions are resorting straight to vaccines and masks.
Exactly.
But
And-
I'm a big advocate of personal health, because I engage in it myself. So
Sure.
I practice what I preach, or I would not be telling anybody else to do it.
Well, I think that's a good practice.
Thank you. So I'll continue to do that. So when you had a difficult moment throughout your career, a lot of adversity, how did you keep moving forward, and how did you deal with that? Whether it was in business or politics.
Well, one thing that I always believe in, and my boys, my business employees, and even in today, in the political world, communication is 100% of what I believe makes a difference. I always said 90% is communication, 10% you got to know what you're doing and get the job done. I truly believe that when there was difficult times, whether it was good or bad, communicating with an individual or organization always got us through the situation. And why I say that is that many times in business, I would have people I would call. I would not always give the answer they wanted to hear, but they appreciated that. They appreciated the fact that I was communicating. And it was hard sometimes when there is a problem at hand to have to deliver bad news. But I will tell you, more times than other times, people said, thank you for at least getting back to me. That is one of my pet peeves right now, and what I carried through into the elected office, is that I've always said, we've got to get back with people, whether it's what they want to hear or not. I know it's hard. You've got an issue, a drainage issue, or whatever the problem may be. But if we get back to people in a timely manner and deliver, at least tell them, explain to them, sometimes we're heroes, sometimes we're not. But I can tell you, again, more times than many, we've had people say, not what I wanted to hear, but thank you for your quick response. So my whole thing is just address problems head on. Now, one of the things we do is that we try to facilitate as much as we can on addressing the problem to figure out what's the best way to solve it if there is a solution. But communication to me is key with any kind of conflicting situation.
Yes, that's good because right now we're communicating to lots of people.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Thank you.
Thankfully. Yeah, it's interesting that you said that because I feel like on the horizon, with the increase of technological devices and gadgets and the mass usage of those, communication skills are going down a bit. That's what I've seen.
Yes.
And I feel like, you probably agree with me on this one, Vincent. The remedy for that is just getting engaged with people.
Exactly.
Meeting up with people, talking to them to improve.
I will tell you that I believe that the technology that came about with virtual conferences and so forth during the pandemic is good, but there is a place and time for that.
Yes.
There is nothing that can replace engaging with someone one-on-one, just like you and I right now, sitting in this studio, and I'm watching your body language,
right.
I'm watching your facial expressions, and we're having a one-on-one conversation. Whereas I can tell you it is not the same, and I think any of the viewers out there would tend to agree with me, it's not the same on a virtual meeting or a virtual conversation as it is one-on-one talking to people. What concerns me is our youth that are coming up. If they don't develop those social skills, I feel like that we could have some issues down the line socially as this country moves forward. And so we've got to have a mix, Jimmy.
Agreed.
We've got to have a mix.
Yes.
Like I said, there's a place and time that I think virtual meetings work, but I think that it's very important that we continue to engage each other as humans.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's actually one of the special ingredients for my show.
Yes.
I bring my guest here.
Yes.
We could do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
But it's much better face to face.
Well,
I'd say it's 100 times better.
Look at all the late night shows and all of the daytime shows that we're doing virtual. It's just not the same with not, having it in person.
Right.
And you've seen them go back to in person, with audiences and so forth. And it's just a different feel. And it's also a different engagement between the host and the guest.
Agreed. And it's working well right now.
Yeah.
This is a really great interview.
Yeah. I like
and also shout out to your Chief of Staff, Robert
Quarles,
for coming to the studio as well. So throughout your political and business career, what are some of the best moments that you had? So most rewarding moments you have for the hard work that you put in? I know there's probably a lot.
Well, Jimmy, there is a lot, but just as far as in short, I would say that a business that I developed is continuing on as a family business. That is rewarding to me. That the day that I walked away from it to serve the people of Fort Bend County, it still exists, and that's rewarding to me. It employs a lot of people.
So you created jobs.
I created jobs. Even I was so proud of Greenscape during the pandemic. They weren't laying off people; they were hiring people.
Nice.
And so, anyway, that's very rewarding. And as far as being in elected office, being able to serve and accomplish a lot of the mobility issues that existed when I came into office, and just solving a lot of the problems that existed prior to me taking the Commissioner Precinct 1 office. I was able to resolve a lot of those. And that, I can drive down a road now that was kind of stagnant as far as the project, and it's done. It's just like there's a road called, some of the viewers out there will probably, or listeners rather, will probably identify with. There was a road called Crab River Road, which is part of 99 going south in the Great Wood area, that when I came into office in January of 2017 was somewhat stagnant. It was not to go to construction until January of 21. And we focused on that because those people were, those families were having to take an hour to get to 1.5 miles down the road to bring their kids to school. Well, January of 21, that road is done. And so it's things like that, and I could go on and on. There's several of those stories, but it's things like that that are rewarding, that I've been able to serve the community and to improve the quality of life for that community. That is rewarding to me.
I bet that would be. So is there a highway named after you?
No.
Not yet, but stay tuned for that. So
not necessary.
Yeah, is that the same road that the road you had mentioned, Crab River?
Crab River
where
Road.
Freedom Hall is? Is that the same street, or
that
is
is
that
correct.
different?
That
That's
is,
the one you were talking
that's
about?
It.
Oh, because actually, that's where we met. I met you at Freedom Hall.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right there.
It.
Nice.
I will tell you, and that goes further south to the Lamar Consolidated Independent School District complex, and that's about 1.5 miles down the road. And those people it would take them an hour to get their kids to school.
Oh, yeah, I like that street. It's very wide open and just
well,
fluid traffic moving both directions.
I got to tell you, I got a lot of kudos for that.
Thank you. Yeah. So, what is in the future for Commissioner Vincent Morales?
I will tell you that I want to continue to do the best as a county commissioner for Precinct 1. And Jimmy, in all honesty, I have no intentions of any other political elected office except continuing, if the people so desire, as county commissioner for Precinct 1. I would like, hopefully, I don't know if we're going to get into this, but I have a whole new voter base now, a whole new precinct area due to redistricting, and I hope that those people are happy with the same level of service that we left with our old voter base and constituents that will want to reelect me in 2024. Jimmy, that's as far out as I'm going to go, but as far as my intention is to continue to serve the county as Precinct 1 County Commissioner.
Excellent. And to close up the show for today, your top 3 tips to be successful as a politician or elected official for somebody that's either wanting to run in the future or somebody that's already there that might be new to the game.
Well, again, I'm going to go back to educating yourself as far as you need to engage yourself with all levels of government and get to know all of those different individuals, those players in that. I would say that dig in and learn as much as you can about what the job entails. It's not all politics. In my opinion, it's not all politics. It's about doing the job. And I feel like that sometimes people take an elected office and they make it more political than it should be. And so, in my opinion, if you are so fortunate to either run for office or get elected in office, learn what the office does, learn what the community wants, and do the best you can to serve your constituents. And not so much on the political level, but on the quality of life level, in my opinion.
All right. Well, that does it for today. County Commissioner Vincent Morales, thank you so much for coming to the studio for this interview. And then also to the audience, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week, Monday, 12 to 1 p.m. Have a fantastic day.